Hey, what's up guys, it's Jonathan here. Jerome Powell just testified to Congress in his confirmation hearing for his second term as chair of the Federal Reserve. And as expected, there's many questions involving inflation and the tapering. So in this video, I want to give you a full summary of what he had to say about inflation and the tapering. So let's get right into it. I checked my analytics and about 85% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. So if this video provides any value, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button. They both greatly help out the channel and they help push this video out to as many people as possible. So let's get right into it. So in this confirmation hearing, one of the things that came up was inflation. Jerome Powell stated that he sees inflation as more of a supply side issue and that it can't be controlled with purely demand side constraints like high interest rates, and that the Fed over the past year or so has been trying to balance economic growth with inflation. Jerome Powell has stated in many FOMC meetings, the goal is not to get the country just to full employment, but to get to maximum employment. And that's when you have the economic growth benefiting people who make under $40,000 a year, minorities, and women, and not just the wealthy and the higher earners. That's some of the reason why in early 2020, the Fed did let inflation run pretty hot. And they also had the expectation that inflation would cool down over time. But they were not expecting inflation to run this hot. But on the other hand, they also can't let inflation run too hot. It does become a regressive tax for the middle class. It also threatens the growth in the job market. So he goes on to state the Fed must use a multi-tool approach to get inflation under control. During this hearing, he was also asked by Senator Elizabeth Warren about big companies raising their prices. And his response to this was that currently demand is very strong. And a lot of these companies are raising prices because they have the ability to. And like I said, that this is one of the reasons why the Fed is trying to cool down inflation. They could kind of curb prices of goods and services. So moving on to the balance sheet, Jay Powell was asked about shrinking the balance sheet. Pretty much what they mean by the balance sheet is that over the past almost 2 years now, the Fed has been buying mortgage-backed securities and treasuries. When they buy these assets, the Federal Reserve keeps it on its balance sheet. Now, since the economy is doing well, the general consensus is that there's really no need for the Fed to have such a big balance sheet. Jay Powell's response to this was the Fed will most likely allow these bonds to reach maturity and run off their balance sheet. And for those of you who don't understand that, when you issue a bond, usually it has a certain time frame on it. So usually, if I was the US government and I need to borrow money from you, I would say, hey, can you give me $1,000? And every year I'll pay you 3% as a fee for you allowing me to borrow this $1,000. And at the end of the 3 years, I'll give you the whole $1,000. So basically what the Fed will do is that they'll just let those bonds run off and they won't go back and repurchase them. And Jay Powell goes on to say that this will be sooner and faster than the last time the Fed attempted to do this in 2018. And that's mostly because this time they have a lot more shorter duration bonds on their balance sheet. Then when it comes to curbing inflation, Jerome Powell stated that the Fed will most likely look to shrinking the balance sheet versus raising rates. And that's because it gives them more flexibility, just in case there's another variant and cause the inflation problem to become worse. To add on to that, Jay Powell also stated that the Fed prefers to fight inflation by shrinking the balance sheet versus hiking rates because rate hikes are a little bit more extreme than letting runoff occur. So that's a lot more bullish for the more speculative side of the market. So think crypto and growth stocks, for example. So when it comes to interest rates, Jerome Powell stated that the Fed will hike rates if they find it necessary to curb inflation. And like I said before, their plan is to use both runoff and interest rate hikes to curb inflation overall. Out of the tools that the Fed has to control inflation, rate hikes are definitely the more direct option. After the news came out that Jerome Powell has a little bit more of a dovish position on curbing inflation, the market did react positively to this. We saw the S&P up over 1% for the day. And we saw the tech-heavy NASDAQ close up 1.5% for the day, which is one of the biggest one-day rallies that we've seen in the past 3 weeks. There's no surprise that tech did well given the more dovish position that the Fed had. One thing I did want to mention is that on Wednesday, we are expecting to get CPI data for December. We're currently expecting a 0.4 month-over-month reading and a 7% year-over-year reading for the month of December. So keep your eyes out for this because if we do get a number higher than this, we may see tech stocks start to sell off in fears that we may see an interest rate hike a lot sooner. That's all I got for right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, 85% of you guys you haven't subscribed yet, and if you made it this far to the video, you probably will like the other videos that I post, so hit that subscribe button. Also, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Check me out on all my social medias. I try to post there every day. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.